Shalom Aleichem, everyone. We're continuing Hachzeg's learning of the Pele Yoetz. Today is 171. We're in the chapter of Das, of understanding, and speaking about very lofty ideas of how much a person must understand things here in this world to be able to succeed. The greatest level of Das, of understanding that one needs to have, is to recognize that he never really acquires das. He doesn't really have that kind of comprehension and that kind of understanding. He should always search and look to acquire das, understanding from others. And certainly you should go to those people that are greater than you in wisdom, and in years. Those are the people you should go to because they have much more das, much more than others. Or learn the svarim. For example, like over here, the Pele Yoetz, learn these works. And from the seifrim, the authors of those svarim themselves, you can learn what is the proper path to go in. Even if you don't agree initially with what they are saying, you should be nullify your das, your understanding, before their understanding. You should believe with complete faith. You should believe with complete faith. If it's empty, if their words are empty to you, you don't really understand what they are saying, and you don't agree with them, it's because from you don't understand. It's not that he doesn't know what he's saying, the great Rav, the great Tzaddik, the great Talmid Chacham. It's not that he doesn't know, he knows what he's saying. But you are lacking that das to understand. Because you're lacking yidiyasa, certain understanding you have to have, and there's a lack of havana, of deeper understanding of what is being said over here. You should know that you will find wisdom with the elders always. And the those that have length of days. That's where the tevuna, that's where the deeper understanding is going to come from. And this, in fact, is the evil of man in this world. Everybody feels that they are a wise man in their own eyes. And my path, what I'm doing in life, is correct, even if everybody else telling you you're doing the wrong thing. You're wrong. You shouldn't be doing that. It's inappropriate. You're a Russian. Whatever people tell you all that you're doing it. Not me. Would I ever do the wrong thing? I'm doing the right thing. And therefore, derech ish yashben, my path is straight in my eyes. I'm always doing the right thing. And this is what a wise person should praise themselves if they acquire this particular type of wisdom. When they get wise enough to recognize, I don't really have any das, I don't have a real understanding. And that when a person can recognize that I don't recognize my own faults, meaning the more self-effacing and honest you can be with yourself, to acknowledge your shortcomings and your lackings and what you don't have, and to be honest enough to say, I'm not such a wise person. I don't have that wisdom, that intellect, that chachma, that understanding of others have. And I don't even recognize all of my chesonas, all of my shortcomings. That's what you should praise yourself in if you can acknowledge all of that. Ukvar Omar HaChacham, a wise man said, I have no yedi, I have no knowledge. There's nothing that I know certainly except for one thing. Ella, Mash yadati shelo yadati. I know that I don't know. That's the wise man says. There's nothing that I know for certain in this world, but there's one thing that I do know, and that is that I don't know. And he said further, Lo yadati sheyadati ad sheyadati shelo yadati. I did not know that I understand something, or I don't know that I understand something until I recognize that I don't truly understand. So the more that you are willing to be humble enough to admit, I don't know, I can't understand, it's beyond me, then you'll begin to get to the truth. Then you'll be able to begin to understand things. And many times the Chachamim of our generation, previous generation, they said things and we say to ourselves, really? Really? I think the most famous one, perhaps in the last 25 years, was the internet. When the Gedolei Yisrael began roaring about the ills of the internet and telling us we have to be careful, it's not what a Jew should be on, it's going to be the destruction of civilization, of mankind, of the human spirit, of the psyche, of emotional, spiritual world. And I said, rabbis, you're sitting over there in the corner in Bnei Brak, what do you know about the computers? The rabbi over there, Matasio Solomon, why is he screaming so much about them? What does he know? What does he know? He's an older man from Gateshead. What does he know? Lamaisa, they were right, because they have das, they have understanding. And therefore, even if you don't understand, you're supposed to mivato your das. I nullify myself. I'm going to try my best to understand where you're coming from. Shlomo Melech said in his wisdom, Yosef das, Yosef machayv. Someone who increases his das, his understanding, he increases his pain. Well, so why would you want das? What does that mean? Because the more that you that you have das, the more you can recognize your shortcomings, your faults, your lowliness, your weaknesses, and that's a bracha. It's going to hurt to recognize, but that's the way you're going to grow and become better. That's all talking about in spiritual endeavors. But in the worldly matters, Yosef das, someone who increases their knowledge, their understanding, he's going to reach joy and happiness. He'll turn away yoga in pain and groaning and the like. Because when you have good straight das, there's no reason to be in pain. And not to be particular about things. Not getting angry about things. Why? Someone that has real das, they really understand things with the way that things are running in this world to the best of their abilities. They're not going to be lacking anything. As if the whole world is filled up just for him. Everything of this worldly matters in this world is its vanity, is emptiness. And everything Hashem does, it's all good. Das allows me to see the way that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is running the world is perfect. I'm not lacking anything. I'm not missing anything. I'm doing anything. If that's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu is giving, Baruch Hashem, it's all good. I'm going to write about this later, says the Pele Yoetz in another sefer. Now, once that everything is dependent on your das, your understanding, a person has to make every effort to acquire das, so that he should listen to people's advice. And he should learn books, and listen to the learning that he's doing. That's where you're going to start acquiring das. Here's the sign that you have in your hand. When you know that you don't know anything, now you know that you're acquiring a real yediyah, a real understanding. If you could be humble and say, what do I know? I know nothing. Shas is thousands of pages. What do I know? Nothing. Shulchan Aruch is gigantic. I know nothing. All the Mussar Svarim, the hundreds of them, I know nothing. And I'm going to make a decision that's going to connect it, that's going to against somebody that's greater than me. How can I do such a thing? I don't know anything. So when you get to that place where you can be humble enough to admit that, that's when you know, you know. And therefore every pious person should daven. Before HaKadosh Baruch Hu graces a person with das. Hashem grant us wisdom and understanding. So we should know the path that we should be walking in. The actions we should be doing. That we should do them according to the halacha, the way that you say, without omitting anything. Even according for your money and guarding your body, you also need das. Like it says in Mishnah, with das, the rooms are filled up. Meaning, if you have das, it sounds like from that pasuk, you can become a wealthy man. Uksiv, it says in Koheles, wisdom gives life to the person. We have to know that it says elsewhere in Koheles, wise people don't always have bread. Bread is basic. You don't even have that much. And it says also in Mishlei, "V'novel ki yisbalachem," but the novel, the low life, ingrate, he does get satisfied with bread. He does have enough. So how does that work? You seem to have a contradiction. Is it the wisdom that brings you? Is it being a low life that brings you? What brings you this? I'll give you a I'll give you an explanation. Says the Pele Yoetz, compromising idea to how to understand this. There are 3 different types of decrees that come upon a person. Number 1, sometimes Hashem decrees that he's going to become a wealthy man. Allah Nemar, and it says about him, he will be elevated. That even if the person doesn't want to become rich, against his own will, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to raise him up and bring him to riches. So so too, if HaKadosh Baruch Hu decrees upon a person he's going to be healthy all of his life, if he has to pass through dangerous waters, he will not drown. And if he has to go through fiery furnaces and the like, he will not get burned. HaKadosh Baruch Hu has decreed in Shemaim, that's what it's going to be with him. But if Hashem decrees he's going to be a poor man, or Yamos is going to die, or he's going to be broken by Yisur, by suffering and pain, even if you come with all these plans to avoid the poverty, to avoid the pain, to avoid the suffering, doesn't matter, it's all for naught. You cannot undo the decree that is there in Shemaim, because we'll never live in a world without poor people. And if that's what Hashem decreed, that's how it's going to be. If your body is supposed to be guarded, and if that's the case, there's nothing that you can do. That's the way that it's going to be. Your body's going to be under guard. Your body's going to be okay. So then, whatever you're trying to do v'im gufa yeshomer, and if you try to guard your body, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu decree that you're going to have suffering and the like, it doesn't matter what you do. Hashem made a decree above, and what's going to come is going to come. So that's number 1, says the Pele Yoetz over here, which means that Hashem is decreeing everything, and this is one category. Either you could be a person that is going to be wealthy, either you could be a person whose body is never going to be harmed, or you could be the opposite, poor and harmed by it. And there's no way to escape it. That is the decree of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You need das, he's saying over here, to understand that that's the way that Hashem is going to work. Tomorrow, Hashem, we'll see the other 2 ways that he's speaking about. All the best.